Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk for the Changemakers of East Texas. And this is episode number 8 called Permission Granted, Have More Fun. I don't know why I came up with this one for right now, but I think it's because I realized that when I'm getting too serious, I need to lighten up. If I get too focused on things that are difficult and stressful and all the day-to-day tasks and things to do and the car's having problems and AC is not blowing, then I just get more stressed and I'm less happy. And then it shows up in my life in very uncomfortable and often kind of relationship sabotaging ways, right? So I recall when I had just my first 4 boys. I have 5 boys and a girl. And I remember when the 4 boys were running around and playing and having fun. And it just seemed like I was looking at them as they're allowed to have fun, but not me, because I am a workhorse. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's what I am. I'm a workhorse. I work from the moment I wake up. I'm going all day long. I've got all these tasks. I've got a nonprofit. I've got children. I've got a job where I was working from home, creating things, sewing items that I sold through Etsy. And so I was shipping things all over the country and across the world. And, so from the moment I woke up in the morning till when I finally crashed in my bed, it's just like the whole day was just work. And that thought, I'm a workhorse, became this kind of battle cry for myself of like, keep working, keep doing, keep yourself busy. Don't take breaks, don't rest, don't relax. If you sit down, you should be sitting down to also read to a child or to help them with something or to be, I don't know, but I just couldn't stop and just slow down because I had that thought, I'm a workhorse. And um, and so it wasn't till some time passed, I had a couple more kids. Life didn't get any slower. And I was listening to a podcast episode by another life coach who's very popular, and I just absolutely loved her podcast so much. I would listen to it a lot. And one of the episodes was about having more fun. And I was just kind of like, wait a minute. And I remember I was painting the front door because, of course, I have to be busy all the time. And as I'm painting the front door, I'm listening to this episode about having more fun. And I remember I was painting and I was thinking, wait a minute, I'm an adult, but I'm allowed to have fun. I can map time out for myself to have fun. I'm allowed to do that because I'm a workhorse. I don't play unless I'm playing with my kids so that they can have fun. But it wasn't so much about me and the enjoyment I was getting, although I did find it enjoyable, of course. But just my whole mentality was I've got to work from sun up to sundown and beyond and up into the wee hours of the night and getting my packages ready for the post office the next day, and all the crazy things I was doing. And so I want to show you what this looks like when we stop and we take time to map out our thinking and our feelings and what is happening inside of us. Boy, a lot of lights turn on and we realize, oh, no wonder, no wonder I'm showing up this way. No wonder I'm not having as enjoyable a time as I could. It could be more fun. I could enjoy it more. It's okay to have fun. Fun just sounded so shallow and flimsy, and it's for children. Tricks are for kids, the cereal. And so is fun. It's not for adults. But check out this shift that I got to experience because of listening to another life coach. I'm a life coach. My name is Michelle Cox, and I love to show how the cognitive behavioral model, and this is my own diagram that I created because it's so magical to map it out and then see how it changes based on our thinking. Okay, so I'm going to put in the cloud up here. This is where I put the circumstance that is happening, the circumstance in our life. And then we're going to talk about what I think about that circumstance, how it creates feelings in my body, which then fuels my actions and my behavior. And then I have a result. And so often that result validates that thought, reinforces it. So it just keeps on going and going until we can like pull the plug and say, stop, wait, this isn't how I really want to live my life. Okay, and this is how it works. And this is so fun. I love this. So I'm going to put here, instead of the word fun, I'm going to put playful activities. So that would be things that are not required for survival, for daily life, paying the bills, checking on, checking your tire pressure and getting your groceries. Those are necessary. Playful activities might seem like they're not as necessary, but I'm going to show you how having more fun by having more playful activities in your life makes it better and is actually really important and really good and healthy and healing. Okay. So I was thinking about playful activities. I was having this thought. I am a workhorse. Fun is for kids. And so when I was thinking that thought and carrying that belief about myself, I was creating an emotional response in my body because our thoughts are electricity, sending a signal, neurotransmitters into my body, making different muscles tighten up or relax, my heart rate, my breathing change, and my whole body is experiencing my thoughts. And so whenever I was walking around thinking this, thinking and believing, and it got very subconscious. So that became just how I lived, how I was. I'm a workhorse, fun is for kids. Then I was feeling more just determined to get the tasks done. I was feeling more serious and driven, and these are not necessarily emotions, but I think emotional experiences. And then I was just feeling kind of unhappy because my day, the success of my day was measured in how many tasks I got done, how many of my checklist items were done for the day. That was how I determined whether my day had gone well or had not gone well. And so when I'm kind of having this sort of emotional experience, it's tight, it's tense. I'm probably more in, if my nervous system is activated in this way, it's probably more of a fight mode. Not that I'm fighting all the time, but I'm just like driven with lots of energy to, get these things done. And so anything that's going to come in my way is going to be a threat, and I'm going to be more likely to be irritable about it or unhappy about it or frustrated or increasing my stress. And so I'd say I was probably more in like fight mode in nervous system speech, right? And so when I'm feeling this, thinking I'm a workhorse, feeling serious, kind of unhappy and stressed, then my actions were to not take breaks, be a little more stern with my kids, and to be task driven. And that's all I was doing all day long. I was trying to get these tasks done, and I wasn't taking breaks. I wasn't really taking care of myself in that way. So my result then would be probably my relationships were a little more strained. They were not very light and easy. They were more strained as I was trying to control everything. Okay, so I'm more controlling as a result. I'm getting a lot of work done, but then my health and my health is taking a toll, right? My mental health, my physical health are going to take a toll. Okay, and so when I'm kind of in this state and having these experiences, then it's just going to reinforce I'm a workhorse. This is how it is. Workhorses don't have fun. Workhorses are more controlling. More workhorses have maybe more strained relationships because they're then activating everybody else. And the kids are feeling it. Mom's stressed. Mom's trying to get things done. I'm trying to get them all in the car so I can go to the post office and jump off all my packages and things like that. Or I've got to go to Hobby Lobby and get more fabric. So, and then my health takes a toll. Yeah. My body needs to have rest, and I wasn't giving it opportunities to rest very much. And yeah, I have a bunch of kids, so it's going to be busy. But I wasn't carving out that time and making it possible. And so this was going on, this cycle. And my husband didn't love it, that I was stressed and serious. And yeah, I was really serious. Just always thinking about the next thing I've got to get done. And so that was just the cycle that was going. And I would have fun. I mean, I would go to the park and take my kids to play, but it was more for them to go and run and have fun. And I'd watch them, or sometimes I'd run around with them, but most likely I was more of like chatting with other parents and sitting on a bench while they're running around. And I'd just be like, go be feral. Because I knew that was good for them, but I wasn't allowing it to be good for me. I wasn't seeing that. So this is where the magic happens. We don't have to change our circumstance necessarily. Sometimes we absolutely need to change our circumstance. But in this case, when it comes to how I think about playful activities, that was what needed to change. There didn't need to be suddenly new playful activities in the world. They didn't suddenly need to materialize. I needed to think differently. I had to have that mindset shift. And so when I began to think, and I was listening to the podcast, I can have more fun. That's for me too. I'm allowed to have fun. So I started to think that I'm allowed to have fun. Fun isn't just shallow and flighty. Fun is for grown-ups. And it's good for us. Okay, so when I started thinking that, then I had a totally different feeling. My nervous system calmed down. I didn't feel guilty if I sat down to watch a movie with my kids with my hands empty, not like knitting or sewing or doing something else. I could just sit and watch a movie. How nice is that? So when I'm thinking I'm allowed to have fun, fun is for grown-ups, it's good for us, I became a lot more open, became more curious and creative. And I was already creative because I was making things for sale, but now I got to be creative in a different way. What could I do that would be fun today? That's a different kind of creativity because it's for me. It's not for me to make money off of and then, there's a transaction, but it was just because I get to have fun. I deserve it. I get to do that. And so when I'm open and curious and creative and also more happy, then I'm putting that in my prefrontal cortex, which means that the salience network is the part of your brain that determines that something is worth noting. Something's important. Let's give it some importance. And so then when it gets into that network, then the reticular activating system gets to start looking for more examples of that thing that's in the forefront of your mind. So if playful activities, if fun is good for me, I'm going to allow myself that. My brain is starting to look for events in the community. It's looking for friends to spend time with and making time for them. I've always been so blessed with wonderful friends. But when I get too much and I go back into it, I have to work on this, get back into the workhorse, then I'm not looking for my friends to have fun time with and relax because I've got my big tasks. So when I get out of the workhorse mentality, get back to, I get to have fun and I need that. Then I'm going to start looking for ways to have fun. So you'll notice events in the community or in other cities, and you're willing to drive to them and make it an adventure, go do these fun things. You're going to create opportunities. And then what's my result? When I'm doing this for myself, I'm saying I get to do this. Then I am going to slow down I'm actually going to cut unnecessary things from my life. Um, and if I spell wrong, just laugh and we'll have fun. When I'm talking and writing, my spelling goes, I can't think and do that at the same time. So I'm going to cut unnecessary things out of my life. My relationships are going to be more playful. And relaxed. And this was actually something that became super important and valuable when my older boys were teenagers. And I realized that when I was in workhorse mentality, then I was worried about them, and they need to be workhorses. They need to be doing all the things in school and getting it all done, and being I became more vigilant, right, of how well they're doing and what's going on. So when I slowed down and I gave myself permission to have more fun, then it was easier for me to give them permission to have fun, and be excited for them to go and have fun with their friends, and go play basketball and baseball and basketball, all the things that they love to do. And um and so but being playful with them changed a lot in our dynamic for the good. And so I did things like, on April Fool's Day, my older two boys especially would buy a lot of NBA jerseys, and they'd hang them on hangers and put them around the room on the walls and hanging from nails. And so on April Fool's Day, when they were at school, I took all the jerseys down and I put my 5-year-old daughter's pretty sparkly dresses in their places on the wall. So then when they came home from school, I just remember one of them opened his bedroom door and he was like, "What?" and then closed the door and walked away. It was so funny. Um, I did things like they ordered shoes, and I would like cut the package on the bottom and pull everything out and then put my daughter's little shoes in there. And so they'd open it up like, "What? This isn't the shoes I ordered." And just different things. Like they worked at Chick-fil-A, and when they were done, when they were graduating and moving on, then I filled their cars with balloons and I wrote all over the windows all these messages, and I got my younger kids to help me, and it was so fun. Fun is good. Fun's not just flaky and shallow. Fun makes life delightful and unexpected. And, I think that's what makes it so good, is that fun has kind of an unexpected element to it. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We have an idea. We want to play it out and just kind of see how it comes about. And I think that's part of what makes things fun. And you're going to go to the park and have a picnic, and you just never know. Like there might be something funny, and somebody's dog is loose and runs across your food, and there's chaos ensues, and it's hilarious. I mean, you can laugh at it. You can laugh at anything, almost. Almost anything. um, but just things like that, and wrapping their car with saran wrap, and just doing just little things like that were really fun. And then kind of the biggest thing was at the time that I was hearing this podcast of like, I get to have fun, and I was making that shift in my mind and my brain and saying, I want that in my life. That sounds so much better than just being working all the time and everything's very serious and businesslike. So my husband and I went to dinner on our 19th anniversary, and I said, what if we um, made a list of adventures? What if we came up with a list of 19 things that we could do between now and our next anniversary? And in fact, I think we ended up saying, let's come up with a list of 20 adventures that we can go on. And the 20th one is on our 20th anniversary. And so we had this great list of like camping and canoeing and going to theaters and traveling to other cities for big concerts, and um, going to Italy. That was number 20, and it didn't happen. But now it's back on our list. It's going to be the 25th anniversary, and our kids are getting older, so things are getting more easy. And that was the thing too. Like we just made this bucket list and tried to be reasonable with it, but then as we were going, we're like, this is going to be hard to do. We've got young children, and we're relying on teenagers to babysit overnight. I could probably do that one night every now and then. so we could go on these adventures to Austin and Houston and see big names in concert. And but anyways, but it was so fun. I mean, just the act of planning out this list was so delightful for my husband and me. And we actually accomplished 13 out of the 20. And I think that's pretty good. And it was great. It was 13 adventures we would not have done otherwise, probably. And some of them were pretty big and pretty adventurous, to like go to Austin, which is 4 hours from our house, and find an Airbnb and go see Jim Gaffigan and just have this great time. And so I'm so glad that we did that. We really had some great times, and it really did a lot of good for our relationship and for us to just unwind, set aside the busy pace of life, and give adulting a new spin. Adulting means you get to pick up and go to a concert in another city and have fun. We can do that. And so it was fabulous. It was so fun. So we're working on that. Like, we've got our Italy trip. It's coming. 2 more years. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna happen. So anyways, my friends, so I wanted to give you that shift because life can be hard and heavy, but it doesn't have to be miserable. We can have worries and concerns, but we are also allowed to still enjoy life. Even if things are really hard, taking a break and saying, all right, I'm going to just set all this hard stuff aside for a minute so that I can fuel myself. I can give myself space to breathe. It's okay. Something really difficult's going on. I'm allowed to laugh. I'm going to watch a funny movie. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to get together with friends and we're going to just laugh and have a great time. And I'm allowed to do that. Just because things can be heavy and hard doesn't mean I have to be miserable all the time. And we give ourselves permission to grieve, and it's good for us. We give ourselves permission to take a break and relax and find delight and some spontaneity. And that's really good too. We're allowed to do that too. We've got to keep things in balance. Our nervous system needs it. We need to be replenished. We need to be able to then show up better to our families. My relationships are definitely better when I give myself time to just have fun and relax and be playful. And my birthday was actually last Saturday. I turned 46. It was so fun to turn 46. I don't know why. I was like, ooh, this is exciting. It's almost 50. Whoa. And it was so nice. We didn't have anything planned except for my daughter had a volleyball game in the morning. And we spent the rest of the day at home, just relaxing. I think I sat on the couch with the kids for 2 hours, my younger kids, and we read a book. And I love it. This is fun for me. I love to read books and I do all the voices, and it's probably really annoying for those who are in the other room not really paying attention. And I've got all these weird voices, but it's, to me, that's fun. I love it. I get a lot of delight. And so it was just so wonderful to just sit all day long and read books. We watched a movie. We just hung out, and it was wonderful. And so I want to encourage you, with your family, with your spouse, your partner, your coworker you love to hang out with, expand it. Someone you like to talk to at work, plan something with your families together. Go out and do something. Have a picnic at the park. Elevate the fun, elevate your connections, make more joy in the world. It's good for you. It's good for everybody. And it helps you to be more creative and less in survival mode, which is not thinking and creativity. It's just sheer drudgery and trying to survive. So bring it in to the front of your brain, then you are more in your potential. You're more likely to feel like you are useful and purposeful and have capacity, and it's awesome. We want to feel that way, and we won't feel that way when we limit ourselves to very small boxes. So having more fun opens the box, and it gets you out of the box, and it gets you to be excited about life. That's part of my mission. I have a very serious mission, like really deeply. I want to help people to prevent abuse, addiction, and suicide. When you're able to have outlets that allow you to relax and unwind and step away from stress, step away from your heavy responsibilities, but have breaks. It's good for your health. It's good for your mental health. It helps you to feel like life is worth living, and it helps you to treat others better. And it helps you to not go to the addictive substances, but to just find delight in yourself and in the natural world and in your family and friends and in the creative things that you can do or you can watch other people doing and get delight from. That's what fun is. It's such an antidote. Take time to laugh. Take time to add that into your life. Make it a priority. Set some goals. Make your bucket list. Stick it in the calendar and stick to it as best you can, being flexible, realizing not every single thing is going to work out. And maybe there's going to be a broken down car on the way. Maybe there's going to be something that you can later laugh about. Maybe in the moment it's not very easy. We broke down on the side of the road going on a cross country trip. Our car that we had was so old that the repairs were higher in cost than the value of the car. We had to get a new car. We were not financially prepared for that. We spent this whole hot, horribly hot day going from dealership to dealership in a foreign city, not overseas, but just one that we're not familiar with, never been there before, and had to just be carted around, 5 of our kids, all of our stuff. And we're standing in one of the dealerships, and I was standing under a tree trying to get some shade. It was so hot. I was sweating and miserable, and a bird pooped on me. Literally splat all the way down my arm, and I just started laughing. I was like, really? Okay, this is just quite the day. Here we are, stuck in this town, having to buy a car that's way too expensive, but it fits us all, and it's going to get us across the country and back. And I just got pooped on. I just had to laugh, and I still laugh about it. And I'm so glad that that happened because it helped to break the tension and just laugh. And we have to take humor and put it into our lives and help it. It helps us to cope. It helps us to get through hard things. It helps us to shift from just the heavy, like the heavy, hard feelings and move back into the lighter ones that are just make life delightful. We're allowed to do that. So you have permission. If you have having a hard time giving yourself permission, I'm giving you permission. And you can accept it or not, but you have to choose it. You have to accept it, take it in, and say, I give myself permission to have more fun. I'm Michelle Cox. I'm a life coach, and this is Let's Talk, episode number 8. Permission granted. Have more fun. All right. So I hope you make those bucket lists. And I'd love to hear in the comments what are some things that you're going to do this summer that's going to bring more delight and fun into your life. So leave a comment. See you later. Tuesdays at 2 Central.